Drop on the opera, then jump on the chopper and go to the hills. My young go Call of Duty with that chopper and he wanna kill. Yeah, shit it on a nigga, did it on purpose. I tell my other bitch, go with my other bitch.
I'll do the best I can with what I got.
Oh! Back at it like, what's up, y'all? This is gonna be the second episode of season 3. And niggas is happy. Niggas is here. Just trying to boost the vibes. Whoever's watching, wanna send you that energy. Yeah. First off, my name is Brandon. This is the Non-Stray podcast. I like to kind of say I'm a jack of all trades, but primarily I like to communicate. I like to use the mediums of music, my drum set, my keyboard, my voice. Also do writing, songs, rap, poetry, essay writing, grant writing, anything. And I like to basically get my point across in new and fast, kind of quick ways, but being direct as possible. I'm just, there might be new people, so just wanted to share while I'm doing the podcast. So, in 2019, I had started my journalism career kind of officially as a podcaster by, working with, someone who I was in a community space with. Long story short, I came up with the idea and the person didn't really like what I was doing and vice versa, so I just kept going. I made, a few interviews, notably Miss Young International. You could check that out. Also did one with Anna Patet, who was a educator from Argentina who teaches young people how to go back into school. We've also done a interview with Jane Klinger, the director of the education unit at Fountain House, the largest clubhouse in the world. Also, I've done an interview with Amanda Mandarino, a young lady who was a collegiate advocate who was working at NYC Well and had just transitioned to the NYC community. That was all season 1. Season 2 was just like conversations with myself, getting to that point where I was engaging professionally again and just making my voice more important. Like I said, I started off with journalism in 2019, and that was what I went to school for, but I realized that I didn't need to go to school to be a journalist. I could just entertain you like this. I could just be honest, direct, and kind of give my quips here and there, but in all honesty, I feel like the main thing I want to bring off is genuineness. I know there's like some podcasts that I really, see being genuine. I shout out Random Order. Other than that, I feel like everything is kind of like tailored, little too much. Nobody's really pushing past boundaries. I would also say Victory Light, with Rainy, Liz, and Mero. But that's all I kind of have in my life is genuine things. I don't know if y'all had questions about the wall, but this is one of my, babies, one of the things actually I should start there. But yeah, This is one of the things me and my friend Bree created. I originally wanted this to be a space for, people in my group to come add, and it got like that for a while, and I'm constantly adding new things to it. So yeah, like, guess I can get into what I wanted to talk about. So, now that the introduction's out the way, please sit back. I'm a wonderful orator. I can tell a story. I'm also a narrator, so I'm definitely gonna get you all the details in. So strap in. Anyway, let me strap in. There's this verse that I put in, this skit that I put in my album Ripple Effect. I'm also a musician, but I have rap out. And it's this news anchor, and she's like walking onto the set. She says, "Excuse me if I saddle in." You hear her footsteps. And she sits down, and she's like, "I always take a long time to do this." And like, that's the feeling I want to kind of give off in my journalism. Like, even though that's like a major outlet, and she could have been bullshitting, but the fact that that was a real interaction, that she wasn't giving people like any bullshit to like really like, "Oh, I'm late, I'm coming into the new studio, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm here already." So wanted to get into it with the wall. When I made a comment, I said like, "This is my baby," and this is an ongoing theme in this podcast. We bring up ongoing themes about art and what does it mean to not stray from that spark, like really trying to get your dreams made, and what does it take to initiate and facilitate those things. So I call my wall my baby, and that's something I try to not do, because like for a long time we're being told that our art is our baby. We produce it, it comes out, and we have to nurse it and take care of it. But Virgil has really put me onto like a different perspective. Not only Virgil, but like all of my interactions with the medium of art. The fact is, we are the babies, and we're trying to get other individuals to like see how we maneuver, how we deliberate. This is off the top too, and this is all gonna be off the top too. So if there's breaks, and don't worry. But the ability to take art and have it, kind of set a state of being, or a state of mind, or a complexity, rather, that you can't really interrogate without having two people. That, I think, is what art is. Like, it's kind of like that age-old quote, if a tree drops in the forest, like, is anyone gonna hear it? Well, somebody will hear it, but like, it depends. If there's two people that are there, then somebody can confirm it. If it's one person, nobody can confirm it. So think about that. If one person is loud and making noise and bullshitting, right, and they're doing all this of their own volition, right, what does that mean about the phenomena itself? Whatever they're talking about has to be validated by another individual. So it kind of sets the stage for art in a sense. Like, if I was to say this is like the new Mona Lisa, all I have to do is have the right person to agree with me. And that's like another thing about agreement. Once two people agree on something, it sends energy out into the universe. That is kind of what I seek as an artist. And I think one of the things that people try to do is they try to like use sex to do that, to replace that. But sex is not like the only way to do that. Like, energy comes from a place. Well, sex. Let me reiterate that. Sex is a way to categorize energy. Same way you could have something that you look at, and that could be a type of energy, or something that you smell, and that could be a type of energy. It's all one thing though. But sex is another way to get that energy out. But like the observant energy and the nasal energy, it can be depleted. So a lot of times people see the way I interact, and they always ask me, what, like, why do you do this? Like, why are you always disclosing your? Because that is the next level to this modicum, this modicum. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but that's the next level to human interaction. To just give a regular example, so it's like if someone was to have a general kind of understanding of what it takes to kind of seek out pleasure. Sex is one of those things that will come up because it involves the body. But remember, the body isn't the only thing that we are. You have the mind, you have the soul. You know what I mean? Some people even have more than that. And I could definitely talk to you about that too. So it depends on where we want to go with this whole medium. And I kind of wanted to, get y'all to chime in the comments and kind of interact with me a little bit. But don't get me fucked up. I know who this is for. It's for certain people. I'm not trying to blow up. I'm not trying to like have y'all share this and like to academics. I just use academics as an example because got mad gas. But like it's about what we want to do as people, and like the fact that whoever you are, whether it's my main core group of friends, could be like a client or a coworker, or based on relationships, I don't care. Like, it's for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever we've done, whatever we spoke about, don't look at it like I'm trying to categorize you in those labels, but look at it based on like, Brandon has to get this off. So yeah, I'll give some examples like of like what I've been going through lately and how it's been like being interpolated. It's kind of the same thing that I spoke about in season 1. Cycles, maturity, having people ignore you, being at the receiving end of shit. But I've gotten new understanding I would like to share with y'all. So let's start like this. Anytime you feel like I've said something and it resonated with you, I want you to pause the video and take 4 seconds and just process it. Like that. Okay? So let's get into this. The real thing I wanted to talk about, is process. The process of everything. I don't know who's ready to hear this, but it's for you. So remember that. We all need to figure out what we are and how we can respond to things. That is our mission in life, right? Some people don't respond immediately. Some people allow things to happen around them, and that's all fine. But for those of us who are trying to liberate ourselves out of the norm, we can see the code. We can see how things move and work and operate. So the first thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to just put a word out there: play. What does it mean to play? Well, to me, playing is an opportunity to run, to break, to stop. All these things that we're trying to figure out in the world and how it relates. So that's where we start, right? We realize that sometimes we get unhappy outcomes from playing. So our playing then turns into a journey to find happiness, i.e. pleasure. And we know what pleasure is: any prolonged period of euphoria. Right? So from playing we have pleasure. So pleasure is also something that takes up a lot of energy. So when the energy gets depleted, what starts to happen is the joints start to ache. The bones start to crack. The body is basically letting you know what the cost of pleasure is. And finally, we get a spark of awareness through that pain, and we get terrified. We get scared. We begin to put ourselves in these fear-mongering situations. We don't hear. We react. We don't look. We gaze. So think about that. That process is life. As kids, we start to play, learn, and then we start going into adolescence, we're seeking pleasure. Sometime in our middle life, we start to figure out, man, this hurts. And then from there, people get afraid. Get scared. Life's ending. As kids, we start to play, learn, and then we start going into adolescence, we're seeking pleasure. Sometime in our middle life, we start to figure out, man, this hurts. And then from there, people get afraid. Get scared. Life's ending. But think about that same process, but put it in the cycle of the dream you're trying to get. Or if there's a cycle, rather. If there's a dream you're trying to pursue, and you keep going into the same cycle and you're not getting out of it. You start playing, then you start seeking pleasure, you get tired, then you get terrified. That same thing is happening. So, think about it like this. You could be trying to seek well, we already know who we're talking to. We're talking to people who are trying to seek something outside of ourselves. So I'll be direct and say, you have something in mind. You have a purpose. You have some goal, some community you're trying to reach, some outcome you're trying to beget, right? And in this cycle, you feel like there's no way out. But you have to remember that that's all just a way of looking at it. And that's not the end. There's a way to liberate yourself even in the cycle. Do you get that? Do you see how powerful that is? You see that as people, we're not stuck to anything that we get into. It's dialectical, but it's also dialectics basically are like the things that you can change. Dialectical is that things are constantly changing, that things ripple instead of just going in one straight direction, and that all things have an end. So this is a classical example of what it means to be aware, to have wisdom. And what do we use to engage with our wisdom? What do we use to process this finality of existence? Right there. The bag, right there. Overcoming. So, when you think about both of these things, right, there are cycles happening that you just have to be aware of. And when you're going through these processes, whether it be closed-mindedness, early facilitation of goals, remember that these obstacles are showing you something. These cycles are giving you an opportunity to liberate yourself. And when you can premeditate the cycles, then you know that you're about to grow. You're growing in places you couldn't see before. So think about it like growth is how much you have, like, in any area. Because remember, growth is not linear. It goes in ripples. So the same thing that started your awareness in the beginning might not be the same thing that affects you later. Because remember, it's rippling out. It's not the same connection making these things. So you won't even know where you're going. That's why there's like a lot of anxiety around that and fear around that. And for a long time, you could be stuck in this fear versus, action state of mind. And you have to watch out for being in situations where people can utilize their brain power over you. So back to the story of art. I want you to really think about this. If you can put your art up to any other artist in the world, any other person that's like a creative, and you see the nuances, but you also contort to whatever challenge or inspiration that got your art there. Would you have more compassion for the person learning in the beginning and trying to figure out what it means to have their art in this medium? Or would you have more compassion for the artist that you're looking into, that you're trying to collaborate with? And remember what performative kind of examples are and why I feel like being performative is not the goal here. We're going to be the same no matter what. I can't shuck and jive to get into a situation more. What about you? Not straight.
Hey, President.
Why you see, you know? Do you know
Like, bah.
Hey, never lie.
Yeah, one time. That bitch, I want bad girl. You know, one chop up, see that? Banco Santander, my God, who got Janko tack bankiers, got the clock for shot man, no box and square, not the Almina, Bob no last panties, money pang fi hack, lags on not punches, handicap that's collab, one cheer, come from the Bronx, Blanco, jack from stairs,